Welcome to the Smart Influencer podcast. If you're tired of chasing algorithms, second guessing your strategy, or feeling like you're doing all the things without seeing the growth you want, you're in the right place.
We're your hosts. I'm Christina,
And I'm Corinne.
and we're bloggers, business owners, systems nerds, and founders of the Smart Influencer. Between the two of us, we've built multiple six-figure brands, launched digital products, hosted live events, and coached creators who are ready to level up.
Each week, we break down what's actually working in today's creator economy, from monetization and list growth to systems, automation, and building a business that doesn't own you. Because this isn't about hustling harder.
It's about building smarter. Let's get into it.
Hello, everyone. Today it is Christina and I chit-chatting amongst ourselves, and we are talking today about the things that, like, mistakes we've made, but things that we see people do, like, and I think they encompass 99% of the problems. Like, if someone's complaining about something that's happening or not happening in their business, it can be traced back to like one of these
Oh, yeah.
things typically. And again, we know it because like we did them all,
Yeah.
right?
Like, ask us how we know
Yeah.
because
So
we've done them.
it's not meant to be an attack on anyone. It's more just more like looking back on ourselves, but what we wish like everyone would stop doing, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're feeling stuck or if you are frustrated, we've spent some time analyzing this, and this is where we feel like all the common pitfalls are. So that
Yeah.
is what we're talking about today.
And after some self-reflection, it's one of those things where, like, you guys know, I have little notes on my computer all over the place, and these are the things I have to physically tell myself every day to talk myself out of doing some of these things.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting when you start to really dig into your own self here.
So the good news is, and that so it is, it's funny about these things because the good news is they're
Mhm.
not big things you have to
Oh
change.
no.
They're little things, but it's kind of like habits, right? Like just if you have bad habits, like to change one little thing doesn't seem big, but it is that like if it's going against how you've operated, there is like some effort that comes like you're saying with your sticky notes, right? Like it takes some retraining to
Yeah.
break yourself of them. But the actual things you have to do, they're not hard. They're not hard conceptually.
No, and
It's
I think
just
the
oh,
biggest
go ahead.
hurdle is knowing them, is
Yes,
understanding that you're doing them and when you're doing them.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's
All
dive
right.
in and talk about them. Okay.
So, okay, let's see. One of the first ones that we see, and I am so guilty of this, so guilty of it that I've actually made it part of my computer desktop, is waiting until things are absolutely perfect before doing them. I
Yeah.
am a perfectionist at heart. Unfortunately, I've also raised a perfectionist. I mean, I often say my son didn't speak when he should have because, like, he didn't do words. He just started with sentences. Like, he
Words.
sat
Yeah.
and listened and he's like, I'm not going to do one word. I'm going to do a whole sentence. Um, but that perfectionism kills us, right? Like, I just need to finish this before I launch my product, or, you know, all those things that we can't do it right this moment because it's not
Right.
apps. I don't have the right font or the right color, or all those little things that don't really matter.
And then to the point of the that's like it's an easy thing, right? Like to identify that this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like I like you can catch yourself in the minute, like it's probably ready to ship, but I don't want to do it. So for each of these things, we're going to talk a little bit about what's really happening here so
Yeah.
that you can like because that's where you've got to make the change. So what's
Hmm.
happening with that is that like you don't like it's the fear of judgment, right? Like we'll call it like it is. It's the fear of judgment, right? Like we all talk about imposter syndrome in this
Yeah.
industry, like looking around thinking people are somehow ahead. And we're afraid to get it out there because we're afraid that it's not going to get this overwhelming, fantastic
Yeah.
response. So I quote him all the time
I was
because
gonna
man,
say.
it's the way that he said it that so spoke to my
Yeah.
brain. So I don't know if it works for everyone else, but he says often, go fast, break things. And
You
like
know, you always
I
say that fast when you say it.
I do because I'm going fast. Go fast, break things. So and I have adopted that. And yes, you just got to get, if you live by that philosophy, you have to get
Mhm.
comfortable with like the mea culpa, right? Like oh, sorry, I launched that very quickly because I was in such a hurry to get it to you,
Yeah.
right? But a couple things weren't quite right. That's hard. Not everyone can do that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with being imperfect. Like I live happily in that land. But an alternative to that is to have either a trusted friend or if you can afford it, a trusted teammate that's a really
Mhm.
great editor. Right? Like so
Yeah.
you can get it instead of 75 or 80%, you can get it 90, 95% there. But like we say this all the time, like anything that you don't ship is not making you money.
No, it's not
So
making you money sitting in Google Drive or Dropbox or on your desktop. Yeah, and it is truly this is one of my biggest faults and I have it plastered everywhere. Done is better than perfect. No, yeah, done is better than perfect because perfect never gets done.
it's done.
And that is so very true. And once I started thinking about that and actually telling myself that, like there are times I'm like, Chris, done is better than perfect. Just get it out the door. You can tweak it later. It
Well,
was almost liberating.
and it's like the whole concept of eat the frog, which I still like, I don't get like I understand it, but I don't because who is eating a frog? But um yeah, I shouldn't talk when I've had too much caffeine because I say weird things like that. But the like eating the frog, that concept of like the longer you put it off, the harder it
Yeah.
becomes. That happens with these projects. But then you flip to the other side, and this is my big problem, is the constantly switching strategies, right? Because stuff's not
Hmm.
happening fast enough, or there's like a new platform and you need to jump on top, or like this one didn't get the result I expected right out the gate. And even though like you know that maybe you just needed to fine tune it, you like it feels like a failure. We're trying to escape that feeling. So then you just build something brand new, which is so much more work than like fixing something. So whether it's jumping from products, jumping tools, jumping platforms, right? Like it's just constantly moving from one to the other. So nothing can gain traction. This
Yeah.
is a huge issue. And again, the one that I probably struggle with the most.
And it's one we've seen a lot in our group coaching with our clients too, is that they give up on things too early. If it's funny because I had this conversation with my students yesterday in class that we were talking about A/B testing things. And I'm like, when you A/B test something, you can't give it 24 or 48 hours. You have to give it a solid week or two before you make a decision. You can't just say, well, that didn't work, and the
Right.
ad has only been out for 24 hours because it
Yeah.
takes some time. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think you got to give yourself time for things to actually stick and land. I was notorious for doing this um with keeping myself organized. I was constantly switching strategies for organization and I tried to be diligent in giving myself, a week or two to actually implement it. But sometimes I think I was pulling the trigger on it too fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think what's happening here, right? Like getting to the mindset
Hmm.
underneath. Like for me, it is impatience. Like I need to see a results to know that I'm doing the
Yeah.
right thing. And it's tied back to the first one too. It's the fear of failure, right?
Right.
So if it doesn't go fantastic out the gate, like I like, okay, it's a failure, but now like my best course of action to a win is to start brand new, which
Hmm.
is like it's so broken, but starting
Yeah.
something new is also fun. Or like it's not fun to
Yeah.
go chase down all the mistakes.
Right. And I think
So,
with me, what's really happening is impatience. I am
yeah.
so completely impatient with things that I just don't want to give things enough time. So I have to force myself to be patient with things. Like, Chris, you got to give it like a couple of weeks, see if it works. Like, I'm like, these are conversations I have with myself, sometimes out loud, sometimes not.
Well, and we all have it in us because to some extent, like I think most of our listeners like got in the SEO game, right? I don't think we have very many newbies that are just like, oh, I never heard of SEO. I'm not doing anything with that.
Hmm.
And when SEO was working very well, right, it was a slow game. You didn't publish a blog post that was perfectly optimized and all of a sudden you ranked. Like there was a phase where you could see
Right.
like, a quick rank, but it was like you'd slowly gain traction because as more people clicked, Google would move it up, right? Like,
Hmm.
and so we know how to do it. We've all done it. And when there is some sort of like certainty, like if you do the right thing, you're going to get here. That's easier said than done nowadays because I feel like all the rule books have
Oh,
changed.
there are no rule
But
books.
yes,
We're back to
but
the Wild West.
we're back to the Wild West. But the reality is, like, if we just come back to simple marketing principles, right? Like we've talked about this, Like, I can't send one email and then the product doesn't sell and then assume that it failed. Like,
Hmm.
most people, even if they read the email, it didn't register, they were making dinner at the time, or one of the kids was yelling. Like, I gotta send like at least five, six more emails to hope that like I'm gonna get something that looks like real conversions.
Yeah.
So, yes, abandoning too quickly.
Yeah.
That's the big one. Uh, like, and the way to fix this, I would say, is to like pick one thing and really stick with it for a decent time horizon. And actually, this might be interesting, Christina. Like when you are actually trying something and you're going to stick with it to give it enough time to succeed, what is your time horizon?
I try to give something 2 weeks. I feel like if I can give, and like, and I mean a solid 2 weeks of actually trying it. So I'm in the process right now of building a new system, and I honestly have not put 100% effort in it for 2 weeks. So I haven't started my 2 week clock yet for that.
Ah,
Like, I can't count that as trying something because I really haven't put the effort into. I'm thinking about it. I just haven't put the effort into implementing it. So once I started implementing something, I like to give it a solid, like, for a system or something like that. I might give an ad or a funnel something a little longer,
yeah,
but it depends. I think it really depends on what the thing is that you're trying out. So if I'm trying a new system for
true.
myself, I'm at 2 weeks. A
That's
funnel,
true.
I might go longer.
I like 30 days
Yeah.
for almost anything. I agree. There's some things that you'd give a longer time horizon to, like traffic, right? Like if I'm doing a new traffic
Hmm.
strategy, for example. But I like to have at least a month's worth of data for
Yeah.
almost anything and I don't know why. I feel like it's arbitrary, but
Yeah.
it's certainly longer than the 3 to 7 days
Oh, yeah.
that I naturally am inclined to
I'm
run
like
it, right? Like,
three
and
to
I've
six
caught
hours.
myself. Yeah. I've done that before. Like I'll check and I'm like, oh, I can't believe this isn't working yet. Like, but I've
Yeah.
been running this for weeks, but then when I go check my calendar to when it actually launched, it's been like 6 days.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Now, like when I was trying out Notion, right? I was trying to get myself organized. I tried Notion. I didn't go a solid 2 weeks because I realized very quickly on, like really early on in the process, it was not working for me. I was spending too much time building and not enough time actually using what I've built because it was too cumbersome for me to build it when I had other systems I could easily use. So
right.
knowing when, like, just don't think you could give it
Yeah,
like
that's
a
true.
rule,
Right.
right? You
Yeah,
have to
because you don't
know.
want to spend a month on a system that ends
Right.
up not
If
working
I
for you.
spent a whole month
Yeah.
on that, I would have been so mad at myself.
Yeah, that's true.
So I
That's
think
true.
you
Anything
really,
where you're collecting data, though, I think
yeah,
you need at least a month. Yeah.
agreed. With data, you need the more time, the better that you can build that and truly see if it's working. Like the big thing for me is when you're A/B testing something. I
Yeah.
mean, you have, a landing page that's not working and you go and you change the title, you change the well, if you change three things, how do you know what was
Right.
working or
Right.
wasn't working? Number one. And you got to give it time to actually have reliable data. And like 5 people is not reliable data.
Right.
You have to have a
That's
decent.
another good point that depending on the numbers that you're working with,
Yeah.
like you might need a longer time horizon because you need to start to get percentages, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, you need 1,000 people and so that you can get a conversion to the next step and that so that you've got at least a few hundred so you can get a conversion on the next step.
Yeah.
So, yeah, depending on what it is, it also depends on those numbers.
But I love a rule. And for
I
me to
know.
say there isn't really a rule, it's kind of
I
hard.
know. I know. I feel like that's everything we do. We want systems and rules, and
Yeah.
everything is like, it depends.
I
It
know.
depends.
I was just having this conversation with my mother yesterday too about like math rules. And we were talking like how I love algebra, but she loved geometry. And I'm like, algebra
Oh,
has rules. She's like, no, it
hated
doesn't.
geometry.
I
Yeah,
hate
do
it.
a proof. Like there's 20 different ways
No.
to get from here to there. I'm like, I would like one that I can
I,
just reverse engineer. Like,
Here's me. I don't care. A triangle is a triangle is a triangle. I don't care if you prove it.
that's funny.
So
Okay,
one of the
next one we're
things,
both avoiding because
yeah,
we're
I
so
was gonna
guilty
say
of
this is like the big thing for me. So
it. It's terrible.
if you are ever talking to me and I am unloading the dishwasher, I am avoiding something, seriously avoiding something, because that's what I do when I avoid. 'Cause I hate unloading the dishwasher. I hate it. So if I'm doing that, there's something worse playing in my
Well,
brain.
and what's funny to me is in our notes, it's like, because I use ChatGPT to help with the outline for complete transparency audience. And it's like it knows us because the examples it gave of how we do this was spending time on like design or on testing new tools or systems, which Christina, I feel like might be more what you do, and then AI experiments, which is
Hmm.
definitely what I do when I'm avoiding
Hmm.
boring work. I'm like, oh, let me create a new skill. Let me learn
Yeah.
Claude Code, like under the guise of being
Yeah.
productive. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
Always like wasting time because we're avoiding something we don't want to do, right? Whether
yeah.
it's boring or in my case, sometimes it's I can't figure out the big thing. This is where it's really happening for me, is I can't figure out where to start
Yeah.
on something. If I could just get started, if somebody said, do this task and this is the first thing you need to do, I think I would avoid a lot less.
Claude called these my spaghetti tasks because
Mm,
we had to come up with a system to fix this. It's like, what task are you like, do you avoid the most?
yeah.
And for me, it was like where I feel like I'm looking at a bowl of spaghetti. There's too many strands that I've got to unravel and organize. And it's that same thing. I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
It's too big of a project.
Hmm.
I never feel like I've got enough brain space to unravel it. So like I don't want to touch it because it's or you start digging in and then you realize you should have done the unraveling and like now you're duplicating work or you have to go start
Hmm.
fresh. So those are the tasks for sure that I put off, which is probably why it has avoiding email cleanup as the number one thing.
Well, I
Anyone
gotta
in any of my masterminds know that I've been cleaning up Kit for the last 8 months.
Yeah, we're not going to let you put that on your list anymore. You've exhausted that one. But it's
Mhm.
funny it said that one too, because that was one I've been avoiding. So I spent some time using AI to build me a daily brief to go into all my things and tell me what like I need to be doing for the day. And I it kind of yelled at me the other day and told me this has been on your to-do list for way too long. And it's been one of those tasks that is like 48 days overdue. Like I can see the red number changing every day, but yet I still ignore it. And it had to do with checking email sequences and such. And I got to thinking about it. And I'm like, I think the real reason why I'm avoiding doing this is because I have to log into the email service provider. I have to find the automation. I have to look like it was just so many steps to actually do the task.
Yeah,
It was overwhelming me. So what I did for myself, because I knew it would help me, is I went in, I copied the URL of the automation I had to review, and I put it right in the task. So now all I have to do is click a URL, like click a link right in the task, and it opens it up and I could do it. I've
nice.
eliminated the first four steps.
Love that. I do love. I
So
love
we'll
when you
see.
find a good system for that.
We'll
Yeah, no,
see
and
next
you
month
do
if
that.
I
I
do
feel like
it.
all of your, I feel like a lot of your efficiency tweaks are things like that, where you're like, okay, what's the part I really hated? How
Yeah.
can I make that easier? You're like really good at that.
And for me, it was simply logging in. Like
Yeah,
logging in and finding it was the stumbling block for me on that task. So just by putting that URL in it, so next month when it shows up, I just have to click and I've eliminated a whole bunch of things. So we'll
that's
see.
that's
Talk to me
smart.
next month and we'll see if it
Okay,
works.
so coming to the diagnosis of this problem, why we do it, and I feel like you and I now, ever since we like had the, oh, what is her name? Where we talked about ADHD and neurodivergence. But like I do think if I'm not, I haven't been to a doctor, so I'm sorry. I apologize to anyone that is truly ADHD because it's not like I have a diagnosis, but I have self-diagnosed, and I'm so certain. So that I have ADHD. I've got like all the hyper focus. I can't focus. Like I don't want to work on stuff I don't want to work on. Like, but I feel like that's also human nature. So I hear it. But it is that we are choosing the easy tasks over the effective ones. And Christina, you and I talk so much too about how people like to be busy but not productive.
Yeah.
So, like, again, when we're saying this, no judgment on anyone because it's the battle we're fighting with ourselves. But if you are feeling like this is one of the first things I look at when I start to triage, like when I start to go into burnout mode and I'm like, I need to triage, I'm doing a bunch of stuff I don't need to. It is because like I could eliminate everything and just pick one of the hard tasks. Like if that's all I did, all of a sudden my business would be like 10 steps forward.
Yeah.
So if this is your problem, if you find that you're working on a bunch of stuff to avoid other stuff, like for me, it's very motivating to like do some sort of ROI analysis or some sort of revenue analysis with AI tools. This is so easy to do now. Like if I fix this thing, if I do this thing, if I fix my email monetization, how much more can I make? And then put that number, if you're motivated by numbers. For me, I'm motivated by the dollars. put it somewhere, and
Okay.
that's the number that I stay focused on. In order to hit that number, I've got a cleanup kit.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I started doing that because I call what I call my power hour in the mornings because I was putting off those tasks that were needle movers. So I figured out what they were and how many I can squeeze, like how many of each thing I could squeeze into an hour. And I'm like, I can give 1 hour towards this where I could just buckle down, focus, and get it done. I know I've done something to move my business
right.
forward. So that has really helped me. I think one of the other mindset shifts that I'm currently working on right now with myself, like in my head, um, is it's not always as bad as I've made it out to be in my head. So, like
Yeah,
I always say, it's like cleaning out the junk drawer, right? In my brain, this is an all day task to clean out this
right.
stupid junk drawer. But really, when I get in and do it, it's like, whew, I was done in 20 minutes. Like
Yeah.
it didn't take as long as I've built this up to be this big, ugly, hairy monster that was
Right.
going to be so difficult. And I had to clear a whole day to do it.
I
So,
do love the power hour. I'm going to make a counterpoint. I love the power hour. Like I think everyone should do it. But like what I did was almost the exact opposite of that, where I
of course you do.
dedicated, yeah, of course, but for the same purpose, because this is how we operate. Like I now have blocked off like 2 days a week that are just deep work days. So I don't schedule meetings on those days, which I'm breaking that rule for the next couple months just because we offered up these VIP intensive days. So we had to find like big blocks of time. So I had to open it up. But for the most part, I've got 2 full days a week that are deep work so that I can pick one of these projects and not come up for air and dedicate that whole day to,
Yeah.
to tackling one of the things that I would otherwise put off.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so you have to find what works for you. Whether you work in big chunks, little chunks, whatever it is that you're just getting it done and pick something and stop putting it off because those are the things that you're putting off are probably the ones where you're going to see the biggest ROI. It's because
right.
they seem so big and ugly and hairy that, they
As I
seem
often say, sometimes work is worky.
yeah.
Like, I hate when it is, but
Yeah,
it is a job. I love our job, but
I know.
sometimes it's worky. Mm.
So one of my distraction things that I do is I love to consume things, right? So if I'm trying to distract myself from doing work, I will go listen to a pod and all in the guise of learning, right? I'm
Oh, yeah.
learning to do my job better. I'll do a training.
We're
I'll do,
lifelong learners for
yes,
sure.
I will do a podcast. I will buy a course. I will go to conferences and sit through all the sessions and have all of this wonderful knowledge because I'm probably trying to distract myself from something big that I need to do. But what I don't do afterwards is I don't always have the follow through. Or I didn't. I've gotten so much better with this, and I'm very proud of myself for that.
Well, what's funny is this is why we hosted a summit, right? Like
Yeah.
for those of you that haven't heard us blabber about it, that is literally why we built
Yeah.
it because we love to go to conferences, we love to consume knowledge and
Yeah.
tools and meet people. But then kept coming home with a notebook full of notes that we didn't do anything with. So we're like,
Yeah.
let's do one that's different. Our summit is now my new favorite thing that we do after the pod. Actually, before the podcast, I like it more than the podcast. It was
Uh-oh, go
so
ahead.
much fun. But yes, like if you're going to learn, then you also have to do.
Implement.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to implement.
Oh,
Right. We have access to so much information that it can really get, overwhelming. So I found that and this happened after our summit. One of the attendees came up and said, "Hey, you want to be my accountability partner on something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do," because like I'm also doing this course and I can't hold myself accountable to getting it done. But now that I have this date and time on the calendar, stuff's going to get done.
yeah,
And it's so much easier to work through something when you have a buddy to bounce it off of.
it
And
is. It
yeah.
is. Yeah,
So,
someone that's like got the same struggle, so they understand
yeah.
all the context of whatever the issue is.
Yeah.
You
So, I mean, accountability partners are great for people that struggle with this idea of consuming without implementing. Um, I think the other way is to booking off time and just setting up a chunk of time where you can, do the course or listen to the training or podcast or whatever it is, and then actually do something from it. Like just block it
Right.
off on your calendar so nothing else is eating into that time.
Right. Or
And
good
if,
mastermind groups. Like this
yeah,
was my like one of my mastermind groups, the one that we started, the other site together with. We go every year to Florida and hang out for a week. Um, we started because we were all going to go to the same retreat together and we wanted to come in and hit the ground running. So one of the people in the group or like put it out there, hey, everyone that's coming. Several of us joined.
yeah,
And like it was so awesome to all be working towards like that same
yeah,
goal.
yeah.
So,
So that could be extremely helpful for helping you get through that hurdle.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next one, this is an interesting challenge to me because I we see it a lot too when we're coaching or when we're
Yeah.
doing mastermind groups, but if I'm being honest, like it's tied to like that second one that we brought up. Is the flip of it. But like underestimating what's already working in your business, right?
Yeah.
Like especially if it starts to fall off, right? Like so mine was ad revenue. Like ad revenue was right like in a free fall for a bit. And I was like, ugh, ad revenue is not working. I got to start selling products. So that was like last year. That was my focus was to do more products and things. But to the detriment of ad revenue, right? Like, because I'm like, okay, well, I'm not chasing ad revenue now. I'm going to put my focus here. I should have, in retrospect, put a couple more things or put a better maintenance system in place to keep it from dropping off
Hmm.
further. So, like, or like trying to figure out, like, and this is where, like, again, it goes with like that second one we're talking about, like trying to do too many things and
Hmm.
trying to guess how to get that system off the ground, like how to sell more digital products, like not really looking at what am I already selling well and just figuring those out. So that was like the big needle mover for me last year was okay, rather than trying to launch, like I had a pretend play bundle for or a pretend play set that was doing well. So I'm like, oh, we'll just do a bunch more so I can sell a bunch more of these pretend play things. Instead of let's look at what I already have. Like, I love to make new things. Instead of that, let's look at what I already have and what can I bundle and piece and put together to make a strong funnel based on the data I already have. Like I've been
Hmm.
selling products for years. I already had that data. So I think I do this a lot and I feel like it's one of the easiest places. AI actually pointed this out to me, to be honest. Like, right, that it was, hey, why don't make another thing. Stop making things,
Yeah.
right? Like it does, it tells me that a lot. You've got the stuff, so just package it different.
Well, and
Be
I
more
think
strategic with it.
this goes back to a couple of the other I think this one has a couple other of the mindsets in play.
Yeah,
Because I think number one, we feel better when we're constantly switching strategies, right? Like it might be more exciting to try something new rather than just optimizing what we already have. And I think too, some of it is the whole, waiting until everything's perfect to
right,
get stuff off the ground. Like you might already have stuff that you're sitting on that you just need to optimize. And
right.
just, I think doing that can free up so much time. And we do see it with the clients in our group coaching. I think a lot of us struggle with this one, like underestimating, you know,
Well, like with content, right? Like even
yeah.
blog content, because like I remember like because I like math, right? Like I'm like, okay, well if I've got 100 posts and they each make me whatever, $10 a month, right? Like I'm just gonna make up numbers now. Like $100 on average is $10 a month. If I
Mhm.
have 1,000 blog posts and then right, like the math just makes sense to me. You make more money. But then, like again, the world has shifted, and I remember like that was the hardest advice when I had the SEO audit done was like Casey said, stop creating new content. You have 2,000 posts. I promise you, you don't need new posts. You need to make the old ones
Yeah.
better. It's outdated. Like best practices have changed. You've got time on these URLs. Why not leverage what you have? And it's
Yeah.
conceptually, it's easier, but it's so hard to break out of the mindset of new is better.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, for 2026, my word was optimize, right? Because I knew that that's where I was leaving money on the table. And it's
Yeah,
so funny, like now, and it's with AI, it's so easy to get some insights and like it can process data so much faster than we can. And it removes, I think, the human emotion from it. So we might be looking at our data and applying some unseen human emotion to it, but AI is just going to tell you, no, this post, and this post need to be optimized right now.
Right.
And it helps you see that. So for me, like having that daily brief where it's telling me what content I need to update today is so helpful. And I had to get out of that mindset too of creating new.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
hard.
hard.
It's a hard habit to break when you're in it because, and
Mhm.
then especially when we're in a space where we're referred to as creators,
Right.
it doesn't make sense to not be creating.
No, we're updaters now.
We're updaters, which
Optimizers.
is a less, yeah, I like optimizer better. It's a sexier term.
Sounds like a
So
robot. I feel like a transformer. Optima, Optimus
optimize
Prime.
prime. Yeah.
Optimizer Prime.
I like how we both do the same robot.
You could also tell our generation with the cartoons we grew up on.
That's true. Transformers. I wish I could sing because I would sing
More
the
than
song.
meets the eye. Oh, I could
Yeah,
do the
there
whole
you go.
jingle.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so this next
Moving
one
on.
hurts a little bit because nobody, I think there are a lot of people that are guilty of it, and I think we were guilty of it longer than we'd like to admit,
Yeah.
likes to admit that this is them because, and this is why. So I'll just say it, like treating your business like a hobby.
Yeah.
Nobody that's listening to this podcast believes that is true of them. I'm gonna garner a guess. Because you're hustling, right? Like you're hustling, you're working hard, you're getting up, you're spending hours and hours on your business. So maybe not like a hot like maybe it's not that you're treating it like a hobby, but you're not treating it like a business.
Right. That was, I think, one of the other principles of the Smart Influencer Summit is we wanted people to step back and look at their businesses like an entrepreneur, right?
Right.
You're not just a creator. I think the word here is just, right? I'm
That's
just a
true.
blogger. I'm just a content creator. You're not just, you are a business owner. You are an entrepreneur and you need to run your business like it and make decisions like it and think like that.
Right. And
Yeah.
like the reason I can say this is because like how long was it? Too long
Too long.
before I like wrote my first SOPs. But
Hmm.
that if you're operating a business, like if you started pretty much any other business, it's one of the first things you do,
Hmm.
right? You set up your business plan, and then you start to create SOPs for all the things that have to happen in your business. Most bloggers don't do that for a very long time. And then when they do, it's kind of like it's one or two where like it's the important things that happen
Hmm.
and they're not like I come back to Gina Knox because it was that late in my journey before I was like, you know what, I need to be serious about understanding my numbers.
Hmm.
Like I knew traffic numbers, so I knew where to chase and like I knew money hit my bank account, but really like tightening in on the expenses, looking at the expenses as they related to revenue, not just
Hmm.
do I have enough to cover these expenses, but is this thing that I'm paying for making itself, money back in revenue?
Right.
And like that's a thing I think not a lot of people do early enough.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I actually built, and it was after I had a conversation with one of the SEO experts doing an audit for me. I actually built this field into my Airtable where I have this convoluted um, formula where I calculate how much this each post can potentially bring me in. And that is one of the decision makers, right? That I'm using because think about it, every other business owner, smart business owner who is doing successfully has these metrics that they use to help them make a decision and to eliminate, the overthinking of things. And I look at that number and I'm like, is it worthwhile for me to hire this out or is it something I should be doing? Like I have to, it gives me a baseline, right, for where
Right,
it's at because not all posts are created equal.
right.
And I've used that. Like, I know it's not bringing me in that exact amount of money, but it gives me that kind of score that I can then use to make decisions about my content. And I think when you can build in some parameters like that, it really helps you look at your business like a business.
Yeah.
And
My
I
thing,
would,
that's interesting with the post. I don't do it with the post. I do it from the other, of course, I do it from the other side. I do it from expenses. So like let's say post planner, right? Like I pay for post planner. So
yeah,
it's part of my monthly CEO day to go in and I pull like how much I made from the Facebook monetization plan, plus how much traffic did I get from Facebook to make sure post planner is at least
yeah,
paying for itself, right? Like which like I don't know, spoiler alert, it barely is. Like right
Yeah.
now, in the state of how much traffic I'm getting from Facebook and how low the Facebook monetization plans. But that's how I decide what I'm keeping and cutting because,
Yeah.
like, we get nickeled and dimed to death
With
on
everything.
our monthly subscriptions. So I do it from the expense side to
Yeah.
see, am I making the money back
Well,
on it?
that was something we built into the smart influencer system, our set of Airtable templates that we have for sale. I mean, because that's so important to look at the ROI on all of these fun tools that we've signed up for, and we have. And it's actually part of my CEO day is to go back and look at my recurring expenses and to make sure that they are actually worthwhile. Like,
Yeah.
and I look at this regularly because it changes, right? It's always changing. Like with new tools that come on the market, old tools might not be worth it anymore. And it's worth looking at on a regular basis. But
Okay,
yeah.
this next one is my favorite because I feel like once I really wrapped my head around this, it was life-changing because I have a tendency to do it. Overcomplicating everything. Like,
Oh yeah.
as you guys know, we are spreadsheet geeks. We love to like we get love to get in and create formulas. So both of us, I'll speak for myself now. Like I love to build like a complex like system in Airtable or like a really fancy spreadsheet with in automations, like all this stuff.
Mhm.
But Christina, you and I like we've talked about this before. If an automation breaks, you're the only person that can fix it.
Yep.
Like if you've created a very complex system, like the more complex you make something, the less likely you can hand it off to someone else. Like the
If you didn't
harder it will
document
be
it,
to, yeah.
you're screwed.
So yeah. Well, and even yeah, if you don't document it and you built it and you've got to go back and fix it,
Yes.
sometimes that's hard, right? Like, so not understanding how everything is connected. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons we moved to Airtable was instead of like piecemealing things from some of it's in Dropbox, some of it's in Google Drive, like all, it's all over the place so that we could have one like source of truth. But the simpler you can keep things, the easier it is to run a business that you could eventually hand off or automate or have things taken care of for you. But it's if you're a builder, it's
Yeah.
fun to do that
Well,
stuff.
this goes back to the one where we talked about how we shift gears. Like we don't want to focus on the real problem, so we do something else. Like when I feel stressed, literally, when my brain feels like it's out of control, I have to make a spreadsheet or an Airtable
Yeah,
about anything. I could just do it to categorize my spices. It doesn't matter. Like I just need to get into that column and row thinking like solves my brain issues and it
yeah.
just calms me down and then I can go solve a problem. But I do like, and I know I am so guilty of overcomplicating things. And you mentioned this at the summit when we were talking about systems, and it really got me thinking about it about how I built this complicated thing to manage speakers and stuff. I think it's because I'm always looking. I don't ever go for the business I have now. It's what
Right,
I want down the road. So,
right.
yeah, I'm not going to build a system or put something in place to just solve a problem right now. I want it to solve it when my problem might get bigger.
All
And
right, I want to clarify that point because yeah, I did say that, but I didn't. That one wasn't like
no,
complicated. Yeah, I admired the
it was
fact that you're
complicated.
like, we're going to do this again. Why not build the system while we're in it so that we don't have to do the thinking? So building systems, I have no problem
Oh
with
no,
building
I'm not
systems.
saying you had a problem with that. I'm just
So,
saying like I tend to not, and it was because it caused me some retrospect, and I tend to, I looked inward and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Because I don't ever want the business I have right now. It's why I
right.
build stuff for what I want 5 years down the road. So it might seem sometimes like things are being overcomplicated, but you have to understand when you're overcomplicating versus planning ahead. So, and
That's a
that's
great,
something you have to notice
yes,
for yourself. Like, don't,
that's a great point. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So,
And if you do feel like it's necessary for the future growth, the documentation is key.
yeah,
So, and
documentation.
I'm terrible at that. Like that is the piece I fall down on all the time because I get so in the moment of building and then trying to piece that together afterwards is
Right.
really hard. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, me having like my Airtable system in place was great because then when I took on a second website, it was so much easier because all the systems were already in place and I didn't have to really think about, you know, putting all those things into play. Like it saved me some time. So you can either be overcomplicating or planning ahead. I think you just need to figure out where
Right,
you
where
land.
that line is for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. A big one for me here is waiting, waiting for motivation, right? Like I just need to get myself into the right mindset, or I'm not in this mode right now. I
Mhm.
think sometimes I get like that, like especially if I get overwhelmed or overworked, or I just feel, you know, overworked is really the word, I
Right.
think, And it's like you're just waiting for that right mindset to come back. Well, let me tell you, it doesn't just come back.
No.
You're not just going to wake up one day and boop, the mindset is there. Girl, you got to pick yourself up, get a shower, do what you got to do, sit down at your desk and make it happen. At least I do.
Well, and one of the things, a benefit of my nervous breakdown is that I realize like I don't make any good decisions when I'm emotional. Like if I root it in feelings, I don't make good decisions,
Yeah.
right? I need to take them out of it so that I can activate the brain. Like I've thankfully, I've got all sorts of resources for doing that now. But like if that's how you're running your business, if you're waiting for you to feel the right way, like that's not a well-run business. I mean,
No.
it's not. And we all do it, right? Like again, like I had a nervous breakdown because of it partially, but like it's like you need to make the decisions when you're of sound mind and you need to figure out what
Yeah.
it takes to get you in that frame of mind instead of waiting for the feeling. And for everybody it's going to be a little bit different, right? Like for me it's that I got to start my deep work early in the morning before
Hmm.
anything else can distract me, right? Like and for everybody it's a little bit different. Some people need to go out and go for a walk, right? Like
Yeah.
to have a little bit of the sunshine, get the fresh air, like whatever it is for you, but figuring out
What it
is
is.
that
Yeah, I take
yeah,
a shower in the middle of the day because that's how my
yeah,
brain
it
resets
perks
in
you
the
up
shower.
and yeah,
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things I think you can do to help with this, right? Because we never know when those moments are going to come. And it happened for me, it was huge. When my dad died, I could not work for 6 months. I could not do anything. I could barely take care of myself or anything else. I'm going to cry, so I have to stop this.
okay,
But what I was so glad that I am a systems person because I had systems in place to help me with that. And then once I finally got through that and brought back my motivation, I was able to realize, like after some reflection on that, that I could build even more systems that should this happen again to me,
right,
I had those things in place. Or maybe it's something more positive. Maybe I went on vacation, right? And I
right,
needed systems in place. It really building those routines and systems truly, truly does help. Even if you're not a systems person, they do help.
yeah. Well, and especially now when we've got like so many tools available that help,
Mhm.
like the worky part, like the stuff that needs to be done consistently, you can handle with a few subscriptions now or a few automations. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't take a lot to put those things in place. You just need to set aside the time to do them.
And that was one thing we talked about at the summit. We like I did a whole session on systems, and I'll be honest with you, I had, imposter syndrome, and I'm thinking this isn't helpful for anybody. But I've been hearing some feedback, and it is true. Not everybody's brain works like mine, and I just tend to think in systems. But I think just having a process you can go through to identify, because I didn't realize people don't even know when we talk about systems, what it even means.
Right.
Like, what does that mean? What does that look like for me? And having that process, we actually went through a process of building one and setting one up and all the different steps that literally, when I broke it down granularly, all the things that I go through when I'm putting something in place, I didn't realize that most people don't do that. Not
Right.
most people, some people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think when you start doing that, you can build some momentum, right? Just baby steps. If you're looking to get back into things, if you're waiting for that motivation, just take those baby steps because that little bit of momentum creates the motivation to keep going.
Right. As
So,
opposed to waiting for motivation to
yeah.
create the momentum.
So pick
Yeah.
an this is the case where you do want to pick an easy task that's like a quick
Yes.
win.
The
And
quick win.
here's a tip for you. When you do your to-do list, when you make like your list of things that you do, flag those items that are quick wins. Like I'm talking the things you can do in under 5 minutes. right? The
Yeah.
quick wins. So that if you find yourself looking for motivation and you do nothing else at all, just go into your list and say, I'm just going to pick 3 quick wins. And in 15 minutes, you've crossed 3 things off your list.
That's one of the like in my morning brief, I've got it pulling like from I've got this document that has like all of my revenue levers and they're divided by like deep work type ones, moderate, and then quick wins. So
Hmm.
that like if I like have a busy schedule that day, it pulls one of the quick wins
Yeah.
so that like I can get something that I know no matter what I'm working on that day is going to bring money in somehow. So
Yeah.
sorry, we have
So,
visitors. So, fun question before we wrap. All right, because I'm interested to hear your answer versus
oh
mine.
God.
If we, so based on everything we just covered, like all the different problems all the mistakes we've made and what we wish like people will hear and take away from this, pick one fix. If they were just going to fix one of these, which one would you pick? Which one
Ooh.
would be the most impactful?
Done is better than perfect. 100%. Done is better than perfect. It all the time.
Yeah, yeah, just get it out the door.
Just
I
get it
think
out the door.
it's funny. And I think no one's going to be surprised by our answers because we know you've got that sticky note on your
Yeah.
desk. So I'm not surprised that you answered that one. And for me, it would be to like, because my biggest problem is the doing too many things and not, like not letting the data come, is to be more patient. Like
Yeah.
pick one thing to focus on and follow through.
Yeah.
Give it some time.
Yep.
I feel like I think that was a game changer for my business last fall. Like that's the one I stand by. I
Hmm.
think if you can do that, pick one thing to focus on and do it really well.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and picking one is actually hard when we were starting to like when we were talking about this episode
Yeah.
and mapping it out. I'm like, oh my gosh, like we have just described me in like 10 bullet points.
Oh yeah, both of us. Like we are guilty
Yeah.
of every single
Yeah.
one.
So,
I think
if
we
this is
see it a
some,
lot.
yeah. And if this is something you struggle with, any of these items, all of these items, some of these items, maybe you just need somebody to help hold your hand. And we have a great group coaching program that can help you with that. So, if that's somewhere where you're going to make a commitment to your business moving forward, I mean, look into our Smart Accelerator group coaching. It just might be the little kick in the pants you need, somebody.
Right. Have some accountability,
Yeah.
like have someone that understands. Like
Yeah.
again, we struggled with all of them and we're at different stages of like of recovery.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's what it is, right? But we can help you build those automations, we can help you build those systems and, you know, get through all these things together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can,
Figure out how to let AI do more of your
yeah.
work so that yeah, you can step back a little bit.
Yeah, and it's truly, I mean, you can still buy the virtual summit ticket if you want to hear some of these sessions that we talked about. So that's still out there. But I think there's lots of great help for you. So if you're suffering from these things, we want you to stop doing them right now. And if you're struggling with these items, look into resources to help you.
Thank you for joining us today,
Yeah.
and we will be back next week with another episode.
Yeah. See you then. If today's episode gave you clarity, direction, or even just one solid aha moment, that's your cue to take action.
Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you found this helpful, please share it with a creator friend who needs to hear it. Smart creators build in communities.
And if you're ready to go deeper, whether that's through our mastermind, live events, or free resources, head to smartinfluencer.com and get on our list.
That's where we share the strategies, tools, and behind the scenes insights we don't always talk about on the podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Now go build something smarter.